Hi. For the first question, how might your own core values and attitudes influence your professional behavior in regard to how you conduct an assessment? So, for this question, I thought about how my attitude as an OT, because we're always wanting the best outcome for our clients. So, since I am wanting the best outcome, but I do want to work with the geriatric population, I think that you have to think about how they might need more breaks or they might have more bad days where they can't do what they normally could because they might be sick or not feel as well. So just seeing what they can do as a therapist and just observing being able to adapt their future interventions so that they can improve their abilities, and also taking into consideration their off days and bad days and how often those are happening. Also, when giving an assessment like the Barthel, you're seeing how the client would normally do something at the level they're currently at. Just having to see what they can do, truly what they can do on their own without interfering during the assessment, but also ensuring that they're doing these things safely so they're not getting hurt during the assessment or in the future. Um, Also, a person's core value can carry over into a career as an OT in many ways. I'm a very adaptable and flexible person in everyday life and in work, and I believe that is something that I've both learned in school and working with others in class projects, at work, and outside of school, just in everyday life. And I've realized how important it is in a profession like occupational therapy. This is one of my core values, and I have seen through my fieldworks and observations at nursing homes that it will come in handy while working with not only clients but also peers and coworkers. Flexibility is something you really need. Like I said earlier, the geriatric population, they do have off days, bad days where they just don't feel good. So you have to be flexible to be like, I'll go here, I'll go there, change your schedule a lot. So I think that's really important. A Another core value that is also important is motivation. Just for yourself, for your clients, for your coworkers. This could affect an OT's clients in a good or bad way. If an OT is not as motivated as another, their clients might suffer and they might not get their best treatment, and they could get more negative outcomes than they would have if they had a motivated therapist. So I think that's super important. Another example of an important value is having a positive attitude. This is a good tool to have for your clients and your workplace in general. If you have a positive attitude, then your clients will have a more positive attitude, and that could also increase their outcomes and to be more positive. Um, Values and attitudes are important for an OT's client. I believe there's a fine line between being a motivator for your clients and helping and keeping them safe, but not interfering with their results in an assessment or helping them too much, and potentially they might not improve if you help them too much or don't help them enough. So I think those are super important. For the next question, how might documentation, as in formatting and wording, impact service delivery and client outcomes? Just for an example I thought of for documentation, formatting, and wording, it's important to make sure that for if you have another OT or OTA coming in to finish or contribute to the therapy, that you've had a client say you go on vacation or you're just out for the week, you get sick, just making sure that those other therapists understand your treatment plan and what is supposed to be carried over for the client. You are being very specific and not leaving anything out so that your client is getting the best therapy. For example, if you have a long-term goal for the modified or Barthel to increase 10 points, then it's important to carry over in those short-term goals and just be more specific to what the client is needing and what they need to focus on in what area. So if they score all the points in the Barthel for self-feeding already, you don't want the other therapists to waste their time on an intervention or treatment on self-feeding when they are already independent in feeding. So just making short-term goals to focus on if they scored less in dressing, that might be what they need improvement on. So that could be carried over in another therapist's treatment, so that they are focusing on dressing rather than feeding when they don't need help in feeding. So you'd want to make that short-term goal specifically on dressing, not just the Barthel. So they might receive a 75 on the Barthel, and on everything except dressing is independent or just need a little bit of help. But in dressing, they're completely dependent. So you would want to make sure there's documentation to back that up, and you're making those short-term goals to back that up. If the other therapist is focusing on something that other than dressing, the client might not gain any improvement or show any improvement in documentation after that. So just making sure that you are getting your client's best outcome possible.